Hello. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Once again, we have to thank the CRSCP for hosting this wonderful event, Byron for giving us the privilege to screen it here. We've had the privilege of screening not only this documentary, but also his previous one, Beyond Beats and Rhymes. So we want to, if everyone could just sort of take a moment to sort of thank him for being here with us and sharing your story.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we have 5 panelists here, and we have a little over 45 minutes to cover a lot of information. So I know a ton of people in the audience will have questions for Byron and for the panelists. There will be some mics that are floating around. If we don't get to your question while we're in the panel, please do not worry. There is a very healthy soul food dinner that's going to be served, and our panelists will be there, and you'll have an opportunity to speak with them and continue the conversation at that point also, okay? So really quickly, thank you, Tracy. And our wonderful assistant director who's responsible for putting on this event, Tracy Matthews. Give it up for her. So very quickly, right? Byron Hurt at the far end here, and the only man on our panel, is an award-winning documentary filmmaker, published writer, anti-sexist activist, and lecturer. He's also the former host of the Emmy-nominated television show, Real Works with Byron Hurt. And since 1993, he's been using his craft, his voice, and his writings to broaden and deepen how people think about gender, race, sex, violence, music, and visual media. As an activist, Byron has served as a gender violence prevention educator. The former Northeastern University football quarterback was also a founding member of the Mentors and Violence Prevention Program, which this is the leading college-based rape and domestic violence prevention initiative for college and professional athletics. Byron Hurt has also served as the associate director of the first gender violence prevention program in the United States Marine Corps. Really quickly, forgive me for being rude. I should have introduced myself first. My name is Marcel Metford-Lee. I'm a graduate student here at the University of Chicago, and I do my research on Black food culture and with specific focus on Caribbean immigrants and how they use their food to build relationships with other Black ethnics, including African Americans, Africans, and other Caribbeans. And these other 5 people that we have here on the panel are activists. And so I'm going to start with Erica is right here. Give us a wave, Erica. Erica is the Chicago and National Programs Director for Growing Power. She has a BFA from the School of Art Institute of Chicago and an MA in Art Therapy from UIC. She integrates creative and therapeutic techniques and food security and community development, which has enabled Ms. Allen to establish 9 urban agriculture and food systems projects in Chicago. Erica has provided technical assistance and planning support for thousands of new and limited resource farmers and local food pioneers to strengthen farm businesses. She actively works to create healthy and diverse food options in inner urban city and rural communities. Dara Cooper, can you give us a wave, Dara? Dara is an activist, organizer, and community health worker, and it seems like a lot of people in this room know who she is. In 2011, Dara worked with a team of activists and co-founders to launch the award-winning mobile produce market in Chicago. The root of her community work is to use natural, whole foods as a tool to empower communities while reclaiming self-determination and healthy identities. For the past decade, Dara has worked on economic justice, public health in South Africa and Ethiopia, the Hands Off Asada campaign, and mentoring young leaders. She continues to engage in her own ongoing research on the links between decolonization and food and health on African descendants in the U.S. Dr. Dorian Miller is here. She's provided care to the underserved minority populations for more than 20 years as a primary care physician, with a special interest in behavioral health. Under her leadership as the director of the Center for Community Health and Vitality, an initiative at the University of Chicago's Medicine Urban Health Initiative, stakeholders and community members work to improve population health outcomes for Southsiders through community-engaged research, demonstration, and service models. Dr. Miller's research focuses on the intersection of health disparities and race. We have Sheila Mohammed at the end there next to Byron. She's an alternative food systems advocate and co-founder of the Fresh Moves mobile produce market. And this is a nonprofit social enterprise originally created to use innovative, community-driven solutions to increase access to fresh, healthy, and high-quality food options in low-resource and historically excluded communities. She holds a doctorate and say this for me, Sheila.
Naturopathic.
There we go. And naturopathic medicine from the National College of Naturopathic Medicine, an MBA from the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern, and a BS in Business Administration from the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. And so all of these activists have a lot more awards below their belt than we have time to list here. There's one more. Dara wants to jump in. And we have one more here that, forgive me, I don't have her bio on hand. Can you introduce yourself to everyone for us?
Hello, everybody. My name is Camilla Alfred. I have a doctorate in naturopathic as well, and I work with Erica Allen at Growing Power.
Okay. Great. So we're going to share this mic at the end here. So first, we're going to open it up to Byron. If you could just sort of say a few words. Obviously, you shared a really sort of personal journey, that you went through with your family and your father, and at the end of it, realized that, right, it's not just soul food, right? That one of the beauties of this film is, right, that we're not, I think as a lot of people worried about, like, oh, is he gonna, like, villainize soul food, right? And we're gonna just sort of have this conversation about everything that's sort of wrong with what Black people are currently doing and what we need to change. But what I really appreciate about the film is that you rooted it in the problems with the food industry in the U.S. broadly, and how African Americans are sort of experiencing the disparities of this sort of more than any other group. And so I want to know if you could just sort of speak about how your personal journey sort of led you to sort of think about how Black people fit into the problems with the food system more broadly.
Thank you very much. Well, as I reveal or show in the film, the film started out in a very personal way. I mean, the whole idea, the whole notion of the film came out of my personal experience with my father in the home over a long period of time. It's not just something that happened one particular day. It was something that sort of took shape, over a long period of time. And I was always concerned about my father's health because of the fact that, he was clearly overweight. My father has 5 brothers, and of the 5 brothers, he was clearly the heaviest of the 5 brothers. And I was just always deeply concerned because I wanted my father to live and be around for a long time. And so so when I learned that my father was ill, and my family and I really tried to get him to, take a look or to consider the idea or the possibility that, he could potentially heal himself through food or by changing his eating habits, I saw how difficult it was for him. I saw how challenging, it really was for him to do that. And it just made me think, well, if it's challenging and difficult for my father, who's been diagnosed with this really, really serious illness, yet he continues to eat a certain way, even though I knew that he wanted to change, what's going on? Like, what is it about food in general? Because it wasn't just soul food. It was fast food. It was all kinds of food that he felt emotionally connected to. It was food that he just loved to eat. What's going on in the larger culture? And that's when I started to find all of these statistics that really show that, we as a collective top the statistics across the board in almost every single category when it comes to nutritional related illnesses or diseases. And I just thought that was really powerful. And I'm not suggesting that food is the only reason why. There's a number of reasons why, but most of those diseases, food is directly related in there somehow, some way. So I just wanted to explore that. And I thought the best way for me to do that and to have an impact to people who watch the film was to share my personal story, was to be honest, because I felt like if this was something that I was going through and that my family was going through, that there have to be millions of people across race and across culture and across class who are experiencing similar things. And so that's why I decided to take the personal approach, and that's how I came to the idea of making the film in the first place.
Right, so what's really interesting, I think, also, right, and I'm going to open it up to the rest of you all, if you all could answer this question, is that, so in the film, right, Byron, you talk about how the food that Black people eat, right, soul food if it's not soul food, but the food that Black people eat is sort of tied to a history of inequality, right? So whether this be slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, the Civil Rights era, et cetera. And I want to know if you all could sort of speak briefly about what are the current contexts of inequality that Black people face that continue to shape our food choices and our food practices. Anyone could jump in.
I'll jump in. I'm a primary care physician here on the south side of Chicago, and the inequality that I see for the people that I care for as a doctor on a day-to-day basis is not having the kind of access that they need to healthy fruits and vegetables. And also not just the question of access, but for some people who have access to them, really forgetting a lot of the history that we have from the South in terms of appropriate preparation of food. And so oftentimes I will see young mothers who don't know how to prepare something like oatmeal for a meal, or feeding their children for breakfast what is the new breakfast of champions, namely Flaming Red Hots in a blue jug. And this is something that I see, unfortunately, more and more commonly amongst folks that live on the south side of Chicago. I remember having this conversation with one of our elected officials once who said, I'm really tired of seeing young moms who are feeding toddlers chips and soft drinks and Kool-Aid in the morning. Why doesn't she feed the child oatmeal? Well, the same company that makes those Flaming Red Hots is the same company that makes oatmeal, and they're headquartered here in the Chicago area.
And to add on to that, I think another most important thing is the education of the nutritional factor. Just working with a lot of clients and working with Erica, working in the different areas like Cabrini Green and Argyle Garden, you work with those people out there that don't understand the importance of the nutritional factor in foods. A lot of them had no education of the proper way to chew food. It's a proper way to chew food. You know, they don't know. They didn't know the proper, the information of the importance of water. So it's an educational component that need to be in each community on how to chew the food, how to digest the food, how to keep your system cleaned out. I was listening to the tape where they were saying, well, you can eat soul food, but prepare it different. Yes, prepare it different, but guess what? You don't have canine teeth to even chew meat. So what do you do if you don't have canine teeth to chew meat? And you still want to eat this meat? What you do then is you have to chop this meat up real small. Take small bites. Chew slow. Those are real good factors, because what's happened if you don't chew that food slow, we get a lot of indigestion problems in our communities. Your whole system is like a plumber, like your sink. If the sink gets clogged up, the sewage backs up. If the sewage backs up in the system, sickness begins in every organ of the body. So what we need to do, we need to teach the people how to clean the body, how to flush the body. If you're going to eat this food, learn how to on and off with it. 3 days maybe, eat your little cooked food or whatever. Every other day, however you want to do it, but make sure you get those live foods in your system. At Growing Power, we're growing all type of sprouts and different foods that helps heal the body. And so we need to teach the people how to eat live foods to help flush that sewage system out.